statements, and I have a simple program with a drop down that just has, if I run it, notice nothing happens until I go to this drop down and I can select red, yellow, or green. And when I select one, it gives me a message: yellow light, slow down, or red light, stop, or green light, go. And I'm showing you this because this is a way to illustrate if statements. And so let's look at these very closely and talk about all the things that can go wrong. So if we have, so first of all, when I run it, nothing happens. Why does nothing happen? Well, because I haven't set the message yet. My message is blank. My message doesn't get set until I change drop-down 1. This is drop-down 1. As soon as I change it, so if I'm just on red, no change, nothing happens. But once I change it to yellow, so once I change it, it triggers all this code, and the last line is set text of label 1, that's this, to message. Okay, how am I deciding what to set the message to? Well, the message is set by this if statement. I've got the variable light. I get the value of light from drop-down 1, right? So when the user changes the drop-down, the value of light changes. And then my if statement jumps into action. And it's if light is red, the message is red light, stop. So let's look at this. The condition is light double equals red. So this is a Boolean statement, and if it evaluates to true, then the app lab will execute the code between this curly bracket and this curly bracket right here. So double equals is a comparison. So it's a way of asking a question. Is light the same as red? And it is. And we can see that down here. We can just open up our console and put a watcher on light, my variable. I hit plus, and it tells me, yes, light is red. And when I change the drop down, then that changes the value of the variable light to yellow. Okay, so now light is not red, so this Boolean statement is false. So it will skip this line of code between curly brackets, and it will fall through to the else if case. And this asks another question. In parentheses, it says, is light the same as yellow? If it is, then it'll look for this opening curly bracket and this closing curly bracket, and it will run the code that is between those two curly brackets. And the message is yellow, light, slow down. So since light is yellow, this is true, and it'll fall through to this case, and will set my message to be yellow light, slow down. And then finally, when I get down here, it will set the label to that message. But now let's say, the light is green. So then, if the light is same as red, it's not. It's green. Well, is the light the same as yellow? No, it's not. Then it will fall through to the else case, and notice, very careful, there's no condition here. There's no if, so there's no condition to check. This is just saying that, well, if it's not red and it's not yellow, then for all other cases, come in here and set the message to green light, you can go. And so my if statement evaluates the code. The variable light is not red. It's not the same as yellow. So it falls through to the else case, which means it will do whatever is between these two curly brackets. And then so the message is set. And then the last thing is I have to, now that the message is set, I still have to tell AppLab to show the message on the screen. So I call set text of label 1 to the value of the variable message. And that's the whole program. And just the key things to pay attention to is an if statement is the keyword if. Then it has a conditional, which is inside of parentheses. If you're checking equality, it's double equals. If you're checking if the variable is the same as this, it's double equals. And then you need an opening and closing curly, and whatever happens between those two curly brackets is the code that will run if this is true. Then next, if you have an else if, you need another condition. And then finally, if you have an else case, you can't have a condition. Else cases don't allow for a condition. They just catch everything that was not true in the cases above. So obviously the big challenge is always matching the opening and closing curlies. I use indentation to make that clear, but good luck with it. You just have to muscle through it and pay attention to it and be very careful. Okay, thanks, coders. Good luck.